What's up, guys? It's just Ken. We're here at the Grand National Roadster Show, one of the nation's largest hot rod shows. Man, we're here to look at the next generation of builders, the OGs. We're gonna check out the baddest classic cars. Let's go ahead and take a walk and see what's going on. Guys, we got some insane interviews, killer builds. We're gonna talk to the industry leaders in design. Let's go ahead and check out Tony Army and see what his Chrysler 300 is all about. What's up, Tony?
What's up, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Man, good to see you out here.
Good to see you too.
So, Grand National Roadster Show, man. What's going on here? What are you going for? What you going for? Awards or what's going on?
Actually, honestly, I'm not 100% sure what we're going for. We got this opportunity when we were at SEMA. We got invited here, and have a great space. So, more or less, we're just here for fun.
So, Tony, you built this incredible Chrysler 300. I mean, you almost won Battle of the Builders in this thing, right?
It was close. I felt like it was close.
I thought you should have won. Man, it was insane. So, I mean,
some amazing cars. So
there are some great cars, right? And I mean, where did you get the wild idea of building a pro touring Chrysler 300? Where's that idea come from?
Sometimes you just have to try to do something different. This was a unique opportunity, I would say, when so Randy's the owner of the car.
Yeah.
He came to me and he wanted a 57 to 59 Chrysler. And I mean, I had to Google it. I didn't know what it even looked like, and it's not a common car by any means. I mean,
no.
This is one of 118 that are left, so it's a very rare car.
I didn't know that.
They made 522 of them, so it was a very, very low production car. So we sat down, and he's just, it's always a conversation. What are you going to do with it? What's your end goal? And he was talking to me about how he didn't want a Ferrari, he didn't want a McLaren, he didn't want something you can go down the street and buy. He wanted something unique and one of one, but he liked those cars. And I like those cars too. I mean, you see what we did with the Mustang. I like kind of combining some of the European styling or pushing the limits of that. So he kind of gave me free rein in the design aspect of what would you do to it. We knew we didn't want chrome. We knew we didn't want a lot of the traditional stylings of the car, but we also didn't want to take away from it. When it was done, I wanted it to still be a 59 Chrysler 300.
Yeah.
And if you had the two next to each other, obviously there's a massive amounts of change, but you would see they're the same car.
It is, but you're grinding, and again, from where you started, which was already at a high level, to where you're at now, you're just refining and refining, but how do you even get started?
I mean, for us, like, I had worked at other shops, and I just took everything I could as a learning experience, how they did it. I was a dumb kid in the beginning too, thought I knew everything, and I learned the hard way when I started my own business. I didn't know everything, and it just kind of grew from there. And I like pushing the boundaries and the limits. I'm at the shop 60, 70 hours a week. I'm putting in the time. I'm not just hoping that it all works out. And they're like the Mustang, that was a big deal because that was my car. It was my money. And I wanted to show what we were capable of, and that was that car, So
Yeah.
I put the time and the effort, the idea, the design into that, and put my money where my mouth was to say, look, we can do this at a high level. I mean, everybody, I think, pulls ideas from each other a bit, but I don't want to build cars the way other people build cars. I want to do it my way.
So speaking of design, we're going to talk to one guy later on today. He's a sick designer, right? I want you to read my mind on who we're going to see.
Could it be Sean Smith?
Sean Smith. On that note, Tony, thank you.
Thank you. It's great seeing you.
Hey, Suze, what's
What
up?
up, Ken?
Man,
How you doing?
Good. Tell us about what's going on.
Oh, we have it listed out here at the Grand National Roadster Show. We got our booth set up, so just here hanging out with all the car people,
Man, Jesus, I love all your builds. They're so sick, from Grim to Illicit. Man, how do you come up with these concepts?
Well, it's real easy for me because we hire a guy like Sean Smith. So before we even start working on the car, we get Sean heavily involved, and he starts just feeding us like gold, all these beautiful renderings. And then it's easy just to follow that. As long as you follow it and make the build look as close to that rendering as possible, it's always going to come out beautiful.
Tell me about the process. You've been in the industry, you grew up in the industry,
Yeah.
probably. I bet you've been coming to the show since you've been born, right?
Yeah, my dad has had his shop since '94.
Yeah.
So we've been doing this show You're talking about we did this show and the other Father's Day car show back when they used to be outside. So we've been around for a long time, obviously on the interior side before, but now that I transitioned onto building the cars, I just had my own ideas and like, oh, I would like to do that, but I would do it this way. I would do it differently. And that's kind of where this grew, you know. I started Grim just a one customer. It was just something fun to do in my house, and it turned into a whole business.
I mean, and Grim is incredible. Probably one of the most insane Camaros I've seen ever, right? I mean, I love the Tesla type, door handles. All the ideas that you had, I'm sure they've been brewing in your head since you for the last, 40 years, right? So it's pretty cool to see you build these cars and, come out with some fresh ideas. Yeah. And again, being young, you're 40, relatively young in this industry. Where do you see this industry going?
I mean, honestly, we're busier than we have ever been. Obviously, we started off with some Camaros and a Chevelle, but now there's some other stuff in the works where we're showing people that we can do other stuff, not just muscle cars. But I mean, the 70s and 80s cars are hot right now. You get a lot of this younger generation that are wanting to build the cars that maybe they had when they drove in high school. And then it's cool because us younger builders, we remember being in those cars and driving those cars, and we already had ideas. We didn't have the money back then, but we had ideas and like, oh, it would be cool if we did this to that car.
There's our boys right there, Jesus Lopez Performance right here, woo! Man.
Thank you, sir.
What's up, Dana?
What's up, Ken?
Man, what are you doing here? What's going on?
Down here checking out the show. Stopped by, met up with Tony from American Legends, who just finished up Phoenix, my 66 Chevelle. Kind of getting the lay of the land out here. Good to see you.
Is this your first run at this show?
This is my first time down at this show. I'm just kind of checking it out. I think I might bring Phoenix out here next year.
Yeah.
But we got a bunch of shows that are kind of lined up, so.
Man, and what's crazy is this episode that I've got is dedicated to young builders, right? And young guys, car owners, man. And man, you're under, the 40-year-old range, right? And what are you feeling like this industry, like the growth and what's happening and what you've seen over the last few years?
I kind of have a unique perspective, having only really stepped into this in the last 2 or 3 years. But after networking with a bunch of different builders and just enthusiasts in general, I'm hearing a lot about getting the next generation involved, but I'm seeing it. I think it can go a lot farther. Let's see, I think it's about getting the next generation involved and participating in this stuff. So it's introducing guys to different builders, getting guys out to car shows, enjoying the cars. To me, that's part of the fun. Yeah. I'm not here making money off this. I just genuinely enjoy networking with different people and getting them involved in the whole deal. Coming out to Hot Rods and Helos or cruising PCH, you know what I mean? To me, that's where all the fun is. So
you know what I love about you, Dana, too, is you're a young car owner. Big dollar bills, man. But you didn't start off that way. Your first car wasn't a big dollar build. What was it?
So for me, honestly, I had moments in my life where I lived out of my car. So when I was finally afforded the opportunity to be able to start playing with stuff like this, I first stepped into a 1970 Chevelle. All my other friends were out here buying, Euro cars, supercars, and that stuff, which I appreciate. They're cool in their own right. Yeah. But to me, there's just this visceral experience that you can't get from, anywhere else other than American muscle. So that was where I stepped into, and I learned a lot through that experience. What I liked, what I didn't like. It was kind of a classic plus car, and it kind of turned me on. And as I've gotten deeper into this, right, with Phoenix, my 66 Chevelle, it's a whole other level, and I got some other stuff in the works too.
Man, I love
that.
Busy. I love that you basically self-made, man. You're self-made. You made all your dollars, and again, you got to a point where you're like, hey, you know what? I want to enjoy a little bit of my hard work, and so we're going to see some of that, over the next few years. And man, yeah. What is your social, man? Let's go ahead and let these people know how to get a hold of you.
At Octane Addict Autos. If you guys want to follow along, I post about what shows I'm going to be going to, some of the shops that I work with. And try to support guys like Ken, who've been supporting me the whole time,
Right on. Dana,
right.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
What's up, Sean?
What's happening? Good to see you.
Man, good seeing you. Guys, we're here with Sean Smith, the most famous designer in the industry. He's not going to tell you that, but he is.
No.
You know, we're here at the Grand National Roadster Show and just making our rounds, and it seems like one thing is prevalent. You got to have a plan.
Right. The most positive way to have a plan is to get out there in the industry, is to start getting in front of people and not be scared about communicating what you want to do. When I was 14, maybe even 13, I heard about Chip Foose. Everybody knows he's the best, right? And I remember I was at a car show one time and I had some really bad drawings. My mom was like, "You're going to go up to him and say hi and show him your work." And I was like, "I can't do that." But I did it. And, that's when I kind of first heard about Art Center. And he took like 20 minutes to sit down and talk to me, gave me his business card. After that, visited Boyd's. When I visited Boyd's, he wasn't in, but, got to tour the shop. But that ignited my passion for kind of what I wanted to do. And it made me realize that Art Center is a place where I could do formal training that can kind of refine what I wanted to do. Now, that's an educational path of going to an art school like I do. I think now with social media, as you know, and your involvement with social media, you don't necessarily have to go to a college. I think you just have to get active and get doing something and put it out there. And I think once you start putting it out there, you'll know how to kind of refine it and shape it from there. But I think getting in front of people and just not being scared to know what you want with you and other people and yourself, and just start communicating what you want to do.
Can you kind of walk me through each of your processes? And that's great, man, that's great information. But walk me through the process of, I bring Twisted GTO, or I'm bringing the CUDA to you, I'm bringing a project to you. Hey, I got X car.
Sure.
Where does it go from there?
It depends on the client. I mean, I come in at any different level you want to come in at. Some people will hit me up and they're like, "Hey man, I need a really nice hubcap design for my car. I'll do a sketch, 3D model it, give it to the machinist, we're done." That's really small. Some people want to come in and they want to do a 3 or 5 year project with me, and they want to go for a certain award or a certain achievement in the industry. Those projects I bill out monthly. I think everything starts with the sketch and just good communication. And it's good communication between me, the builder, and the customer, and trying to figure out what we all want out of the car. And once we communicate, we get a story about the car and a concept, and then we start designing from there. And that concept and story serves as a foundation of what the car is all about. This car in particular, the Twisted GTO, was like, what if John DeLorean, who is the father of the GTO at GM, didn't have a budget and had all the money in GM, and maybe there wasn't a Cadillac, right? Maybe Pontiac took Cadillac's place. What was the ultimate GTO we can build? And from there, I designed within those parameters of that story. And it's very much the same way a director makes a movie. I mean, if he didn't have a script or story, it's just a bunch of special effects.
Right on. Sean Smith.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by.
What's up, my man?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Man, Ross, we're here at the Grand National Roadster Show. You're here once again. Tell us about what's happening.
Well, here at the Grand National Roadster Show, celebrating the 75th anniversary of it, right?
Yeah.
What better way to come here to the Grand National Roadster Show than with the 69 Chevelle that we brought here from Steve Aguilar. We got a complete interior kit.
I didn't realize that's Aguilar's.
Yes.
Okay, so
Twisted GTO.
Actually, we were just at Aguilar's spot right now. So
Okay.
again, the crazy thing is if we're talking about just people getting into the industry, right? And to the Twisted GTO for the common man is very unattainable,
Yes.
right? Very. Like, there's only a handful of people that can afford a beautiful car like that. This right here, it's still a lot of money, but I almost think the working man can get this, right?
That's it. And then it's hard for most guys to be able to spend the big bucks at some of the high-end interior shops that are out there.
Yeah.
So what's really neat is that we're able to offer a complete interior kit that is shipped right to their door. So we're offering a complete interior in a box that a guy and his buddy can install it over a weekend right there at their own house.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, so you could just basically take everything out, the dash, you could take everything out of the car and just put a complete TMI interior kit into it.
That's it, complete interior kit. And like you were saying that, you know, some of these cars, these builds are getting out of control and they're getting expensive. So because of that, we really started focusing on the 80s cars.
Yeah.
So we started off with, like, say, Fox Body Mustang, and then over to OBS, and all those 80s cars were doing great. And then we, this past year, we launched Gen 3 Camaro,
Yep.
and then also G-Body. And man, things are hot. The 80s cars are coming in hot.
Yes. You know, and it's crazy, you think about like the 80s car, right? This is like, let's call it 20 years ago, right? The 70 cars were, 20 years ago, 70 cars were good. Okay, let's go ahead and fast forward. And this isn't even 2020. We're 2025 right now. It's only jumped up like 10 years, which are the 80s cars are finally starting to get hot. And they're affordable.
Yes.
Awesome, man. Ross, you're in the know. I love it. Educating our fans. You heard it here first. Get that G-body, 3rd gen, that Fox body. It's time. Well, that closes out the Grand National Roadster Show. What an exciting day. From Lopez Performance to Rob, RJ Fabs, Willie, to like, you name it. Everybody was here. Sean Smith, Tony Army, all the young blood here, man. It's really exciting to see the industry thrive. If you have never made it out to the show, make sure you make it. This is the place to be.